My wife and I are currently up in Park City, Utah, renting this beautiful house called the Bluebird House, and in the garage, I found what I thought was a regular e-bike, but there was something very different about this Jackrabbit. After I rode it, I loved it so much I had to get one for myself.
Behind me here is one of the most unique electric bikes that I've ever demoed on my Manshed channel here. But is it really an electric bike? Is it an electric scooter? See, for an e-bike, it's missing one very key component, but does that really matter? And let me tell you later on why I believe this is the e-bike you didn't know you absolutely want. I'm talking about the very unique, very cool Jackrabbit XG. This thing is pure genius for several reasons, but can you tell what component is missing on it? Let's get into this.
I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I'm boring, so I'm taking my time on my ride. I'm boring, so I'm taking my time. Taking my time on my ride. I'm boring, so I'm taking my time on my ride. I'm boring, so I'm taking my time on my. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me.
This here is the XG model. They also sell an OG model, and the OG model is slightly smaller, a little bit lighter, and lacks some of the XL features of this XG. I've also added some additional accessories that Jackrabbit sells for the XG, like the larger handlebars, the cushioned springed seat right here, which I'll show you in a second, and the larger foot pedals. And yes, that's correct. The folding foot pedals are just that. They're just foot pedals. There are no pedals on this e-bike. And Jackrabbit calls this a micro e-bike. And this one specifically is the XL micro e-bike, which is kind of an oxymoron. But at only 32 pounds, it really is a micro e-bike. It is throttle only. There are no pedals. There are no gears. There's nothing mechanically really to go wrong with it other than, say, the hub motor. Speaking of the hub motor, you've got a 500-watt hub motor in the rear, and it has two batteries that are completely removable. They simply slide out like that. So these are easily swapped out. And with these two batteries and that 500-watt motor, you're gonna get about 20 miles of range for this. This isn't really designed to go for a long e-bike. This is an e-mobility device, in my opinion. It's something to get from point A to point B, something you can just throw in the back of your vehicle, get to your destination, and still have something to ride around in without having to load up a clunky bike rack.
What I've really come to learn and appreciate about the Jackrabbit is that it really is about mobility. In this instant here, I can actually transition from one street down to another using these stairs really easily, because at 32 pounds for the larger one and 24 pounds for the smaller OG, it's not a big deal to just carry it down the stairs, hop back on the bike, and keep riding. I was also worried about my height. I'm 6'7", and the XG is definitely the way to go, but I was really kind of concerned about my posture and how I would fit on this small of a bike frame. And what's crazy is because you don't have the pedals to contend with, you don't have to worry about your knee bend or anything like that. You really are sitting more upright while you're riding this, just kind of in a seated position. You're not leaning far forward over the handlebars. So it was remarkably comfortable. It was odd at first, but I really like it. And it's a very comfortable way to ride even on longer distances.
What do you think of that, John?
It's pretty sick.
Different, huh?
It's really lightweight. The throttle, good torque, good power.
I weigh like 185, gets me up a hill, no problem. I like how this one has the double brake.
Got the double batteries for extended range.
Oh yeah, 2 of them, and you can like get even bigger ones, so you can have like a quad battery.
Do you feel kind of like almost like electric BMXing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It was strange not having the pedals. It's kind of a different sensation you have to get used to.
One of the upgrades that I added to my XG is the Connect XR active suspension seat post. This gives me some nice cushion and spring because if you notice, there are no shocks that you might typically find on an electric bike. This keeps the bike lightweight, and adding this Connect seat post does give some additional cushion. Now, before I added this cushion, however, I did find it pretty comfortable to ride. In fact, surprisingly comfortable to ride with these 20-inch tires. I also added the high-rise handlebar to the bike just to give my frame a little bit more height when sitting on it. And initially, you might think, wow, that's a really small bike for your 6'7" frame there, Mansell. What are you doing on that bike? Well, you know what? This thing doesn't feel small. It's like an optical illusion. No, I'm not the optical illusion. The bike is the optical illusion. This small of a bike feels very comfortable. One of the reasons for that is the fact that you sit more upright on this because you're not worried about the knee bend for a typical pedal setup. This bike is really designed for you to throw into another vehicle like our Audi e-tron, go to your destination and pull it out and use it as you need to in a closer proximity. But if you're saying, Michael, I really want to go a lot further than 20 miles on that thing, well, you can. They actually sell the Range Buster battery that slots right into these same battery slots here, which will drastically extend your range. You can check out all the accessories that Jackrabbit offers in the link in the description of this video, along with purchasing this XG model or the smaller OG model, which has a 10-mile range.
So why is it that I think that everyone really should consider getting a Jackrabbit for themselves? Well, it's simple. This is a mobility device. It's an electric mobility device that gets you from point A to point B very easily, but it doesn't limit how you can transport it in other means and fashions. This will not limit your travel. You can get really creative with it, and it's something that I think everybody should consider having with them when needing to do multiple forms of travel, because this makes e-mobility convenient. Be sure to use the links in the description of this video to get your very own Jackrabbit and all the accessories that you want, including a $25 off coupon code below.